Hi guys and welcome to my channel. What came in today? This story behind this. This is a new computer, new case, new power supply. The only thing old is the video card, which used to work just fine on the other computer according to the customer. It fails Windows install. The customer has already spent 4 days trying to fix it, so here it is. As you can tell, the person did a pretty decent job in putting it together, and we're gonna install Windows on it. See the message on the screen. Apparently, somehow it fails. So the customer also said somehow she was able to install Windows 10 on it, but that's just masking the problem, not the solution. And even if she tried to use it, it would actually fail. So we are gonna see what's going on with it. So let's begin. Also, I forgot to mention the customer has already changed the motherboard once. She must have thought that's the problem, and I also assume that she knows how to change the CPU because it's the second motherboard with the same issue. So we are going to check the CPU last, as in the pins. The motherboard pins. So that would be the last thing. I don't think that's an issue. Power supply also doesn't seem to be the issue, but you guys tell me, what do you think? What do you think your gut feeling is looking at the issue that we have? So let's reproduce the problem again. Let's try and install Windows 11 with our let's try and install Windows 11 again with our official installer. So let's see what happens. Also guys, you know this is a new channel, so thanks for all the people who have been supporting it and subscribing to it. I appreciate your help. Or should I say, I appreciate your encouragement. So we are going to do a fresh install of Windows, and let's see what happens. And if you can tell, the mouse is very jittery. You see it? Let's see what error we get. According to the customer, most of the error happens when it's around 77%. Also, the person has actually updated the BIOS. I did check it already. So the person has done whatever she could have done to figure this out. Also, I just noticed the fans aren't lighting up. I'm not sure because they're not hooked right, or we'll find out. Oh, the back fan is not backlit, but these three fans looks like they're backlit. Looks like they're RGB. Also, the computer is now running in a default BIOS. It doesn't have any memory overclocking enabled or anything. By the way, if you want to learn how to make this stick and do a fresh install of Windows 11 or 10, you can watch my other video on this side. So far, it's looking good. Let's just bypass the Microsoft account requirement and then keep on going. Shift F10. There we go. There's the problem. So now we know it doesn't take Windows 11 or 10 for that matter. So, what do you guys think? So my money would be on the CPU or the memory. Yes, both are new. So first things first. We need to test the memory. If memory tests fine, then we need to test the CPU. Now, you can run memory test on this computer. The problem that you would run into is that it wouldn't be, since the CPU is new and the memory is new, there's no way of knowing what failed. As in, if a CPU goes bad, it will also fail the memory test because the memory controller is in the CPU. So what we will do is get our trusted CPU motherboard combo and run the memory on that. Okay. Let's get this computer out of the way. So we're just going to test the memory first. Okay. So that is 9600X. Okay. Well, everything is connected, and here's our trusty screwdriver. Let's do it. Oh. We almost forgot our official memory test USB. And if you want to know how to make this, you can watch this video here. Cool. Let's turn it on. Oh, forgot to connect the fan, but no worries, we can do it now. Cool. Everything's up and running. It should automatically boot to the memory disk, a memory test disk. You know, for some reason, it doesn't like my default video card. So let's use our trusted video card. Let's see what happens. So if the memory is really bad, it normally fails within first 5 minutes. But sometimes it could be 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 3 hours. But it's more early than late. Now let's say if you didn't have another memory laying around or another tested CPU motherboard laying around, so what you can do is you can do one stick at a time. Plug one stick in instead of 2 sticks and try install Windows. See if that helps you. Because it's very rare, unlike the other episode that you saw here, both the sticks were bad, but that's a very, very rare thing. It's almost like having 2 flat tires, or the other time I've seen it happen is if the memory is just not compatible with that chipset. So it doesn't matter, you plug 1 or 2. Okay, so as you can tell, the memory has passed the test in flying colors. So what we're going to do now is we're going to install the customer CPU in our computer with our tested SSD, and see what happens. So the CPU is already in this computer now. That's the customer's CPU, customer's memory, our SSD, and we are good to go. Well, it did install Windows 11 on it. What do you guys think? So what we're going to do now is we're going to install all the drivers and see what happens. The mouse seems okay right now. Seriously, guys, what are your thoughts? What is it? One thing I would say, when a CPU fails, it behaves differently on different motherboards. Like I had a CPU once, it would give blue screens on one motherboard, on another one, it wouldn't even give a display. So what we're waiting for is any blue screen. Also, what we could do is we could put our chip in the customer's computer with their memory, their SSD, and see what happens. The customer says she has a Samsung SSD, which rarely fail, but then this one failed. So, well, this is just a random SSD from some computer we serviced. And remember, the customer already has a second motherboard with the same issues. So chances of the motherboard being bad, far and thin. Okay, so it looks like it's installed pretty much every driver. We're going to let it finish, and then we're going to install this and start over. Okay, it's installed. Let's just do a restart and then turn it off. Welcome to my world. So everything is now customers except the power supply and the CPU. Power supply and the motherboard. The other thing we can also do is we can put our CPU in her computer with everything hers and see what happens. That's another way of testing the CPU. Anyways, what I was saying to you before was I had a computer come in. It took me like 14 days to figure it out. Every part I tested of his tested out just fine. No problem whatsoever. We test CPU, fine. Memory, fine. Motherboard, fine. Cooling, fine. Power supply, fine. Everything we tried, everything you can imagine we tried. Guess what the issue ended up being? It ended up being the USB 3 and USB-C header. So once I unplugged that, and what made this troubleshooting 14 weeks, his computer would work fine for 6, 7 hours, 8 hours. Then suddenly it would just crash. So what happened was once we unplugged the header, and I told the customer, I haven't had any failure for like 24 hours. And he's like, oh yeah, now that you said it, so that case was, it was one of those cases which has a USB-C and USB 3 headers on the bottom. He said, yeah, one day I came in back to home and it was all submerged in milk. He had a toddler or infant child. And I said, did you think about telling me that? And 14 days of work went into it. Oh, look, we found some problem. See, nothing is happening. It's hanging up. I told the lady we'll give it back to her today or let her know what's wrong with it today. Let's see. The CPU is pretty much, the computer has pretty much crashed. It's just a joke at this point. Okay, at least we know it has nothing to do with the video card. Her video card. Okay, it's not gonna go anywhere. Yeah, look at that. Not responding. Let's just reset it. Look, we have it. Never felt so happy when the computer crashed. Have you? Okay. Good. We have a problem. So, Let me put this all back together. Let me start again. Okay, it's 4 o'clock here and I close at 6, so let's get moving. Let's clean this up. Have her computer. Okay, we have her computer. That is our SSD 970. Okay, that's in. The RAM. You know, one thing I noticed, see if I can try and show it to you. I want you to look at this connection. See, the other end of this is RGB, but look where it's connected and what is connected to it. It's connected to a fan. And this is actually, this connection is used in some NZXT hub. It's not really meant to be there. We won't worry about it right now. The video card back in. So now everything is going back in the way it came in. Memory is back. So everything is hers minus our SSD. Let's do it. Today is not my day. I keep on losing my, well, never mind, our installer. But while we're doing it, let's connect the RGBs. Remember I told you the fans weren't working? Let's see if the fans work now. You know what? Let's turn on the memory overclocking too. Let's push it. Oh. The fans are up. What is it, MSI F11? What do you guys think? Did we find the problem? So now what we're going to do is put our CPU in there and see what happens. That's it. Well, so now we know it's also not the SSD. Well, we also know it wasn't the bad connector. Yes, this CPU is tested. This was the one we used to test the memory. Back to the install. We're going to push it again. Enable the memory overclocking and everything. So far good. We are going to install the drivers, and if it takes everything, we know the computer is fixed. Okay, so we are officially done troubleshooting it. Turns out it was CPU all along. And like I said before, some CPUs would behave different on different motherboards when they're bad. This was one of those. With that said, I hope you guys had fun fixing it with me. Until next time, see ya.